God. Gaudy stats. Good God, that's gaudy.
Nebs is a guy that the Spurs drafted in the second round out of like Greece. You know, he's a corner three. He's a 3 and D guy.
So true. Oh, what a game!
What a
I'm
game!
I'm titillated. I'm actually I'm bringing up the box score right now
Yeah. While
because
you're doing that, yeah, I was gonna say while you're doing that, I just want to say I think the old saying in NBA playoff series is that the series doesn't start until a team wins on the road. I
mm,
think I think usually I disagree with that. I think it's usually when you get a game like this, and especially in the finals. I mean, we were due for a game like this because the first 3 games, really, you had not had a lot of intrigue in the fourth quarter in any of the first three, and so even though the home team has held serve in every game in this series so far, this is obviously by far the best game, and just a really good. You could feel it in Mike Breen's call throughout the fourth quarter, but a really intense and I wouldn't say always well played fourth quarter, but a very like competitive sort of back and forth game. And I think now we look at best of three with Phoenix getting 2 of the games potentially. Um,
mm,
the stage that is set for what I hope as a neutral fan. I kind of I'm hoping that this is just going to be if nothing else, having it go 6 or 7 games is all we can ask for. And so I look forward to these next 3 games.
I
Give me
agree
your
with you,
give me your
man.
thoughts looking at the box score.
I agree with you. I'm a Suns fan, but I've made my opinion on Chris Paul pretty clear, and I love Giannis. I'm not even mad, honestly. I was frustrated with Chris Paul as I was watching the game. I was frustrated, but also nodding my head, like kind of like, oh, I was right about him. But I'm not saying I was right because he's been amazing these playoffs, and you know, I can't really. I mean, he had one bad game. It's really his only bad game, unless you count like the game he got hurt in. But no, man. I mean, Chris Middleton, 40 points. Um, his quick release jump shot, his mid range jumper is just beautiful. 15 for 33, took 33 shots. Giannis only took 19.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Giannis had 8 assists, 14 rebounds, 26 points, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I was reading online there's never been a stat line like that in the finals before.
hmm
It's like the only stat line, whatever that means. I mean, but like yeah, 3 blocks or 3 steals, 2 blocks with 8 assists and 14 rebounds. I
yeah,
mean, it's just so gaudy.
yeah,
Um, and Devin Booker, man. Um, like I thought Chris Paul was going to shit the bed, and Devin Booker was going to ride in on a stallion and smote smote the Bucks down, cut them down by himself.
hmm
Um, he had the
Turn them
left.
into venison.
Exactly, man. Some really stringy, uh,
Gamey.
gamey venison that you'd find at the lake house,
Uh-huh.
across the street. Um,
Possibly not properly refrigerated.
Possibly, rabies infested, but
hmm
um, I think we all had natural immunity. But yeah, man, he took 28 shots. He hit 17. I mean, talk about efficient. That's unreal.
Yeah.
Um, he he didn't do much besides score, but that's all we really needed from him. And
hmm
I got to give it to him. I'm not a huge fan. I'm having such a weird experience with this team, Sam. Like, I don't really like many of the players. I like Mikal Bridges. I like Cam
Yep.
Johnson, and I'm starting to like DeAndre Ayton. Um,
hmm
and I kind of like Booker now, but I don't like Chris Paul. I can't. maybe you can help me get through this. Like, why should I like Chris Paul? Like, just pitch Chris Paul to me. What do you think is standing in the way? Like, I just can't get past his
So
face. I don't know what it is.
I've never been a big Chris Paul guy, and so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask about
Were,
that.
were you were you smiling as he was falling all over his face and turning the ball over 5 times tonight, scoring 11 points, shooting like 38%?
I wasn't
Um,
smiling, but it did leave me intrigued as to whether one half of the Goat podcast, Ben Golliver, will somehow manage to give credit to Chris Paul for Devin Booker's performance.
I like that podcast, but it's getting a little hacky these days. It's
Yeah.
like Golliver is just, I don't want to get too deep to people that don't listen to the podcast,
No,
but
no. This is good. This is good for one podcast to describe another podcast to link.
but like, you can't just become zeroed in on somebody and not be a little truthful, whether
Yeah.
they
No.
play
Yeah.
bad or good. And I had to give, Chris Paul credit when he was amazing, but I also had to be like, I still don't like him for my
Yeah.
little petty reasons.
Yeah.
The fact that he just flops constantly and he's like really annoying to watch and he's just like this jittery, like spasmy player that I can't stand. But
Jittery is a really good word.
and he was kind of like that way tonight. Like he was just like he'd be dribbling, he just kind of like just like throw the ball, like just and just like
Yeah.
throw the ball away. And it was just and he did it in the worst possible time. And
Yeah.
he kind of masked a horrible Giannis foul. Giannis like slapping Crowder in the mouth,
Yeah.
flailing. It's all about flailing.
Right.
Um,
And everyone thought Crowder had flopped because he had spent most of the game flopping.
dude, this
But
was
he
like
legit got hit in the face by Giannis.
yeah, no, for sure. And Booker committed like 9 fouls too, and they didn't call like the last four.
Yeah,
He
really,
like
really poor game awareness from Booker. As good as he was on offense, his defense was pretty rough.
yeah, and I don't know, man. Crowder, it kind of wasted an amazing Crowder game. Like, listen to this stat line:
Yep.
15 points. He didn't shoot particularly well. 3 blocks, 3 steals, 3 assists, and 8 rebounds. So
Mm-hmm.
he was 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks away from a 5x5 game.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
it's a little bit of a stretch, but still, I mean, that's an incredible stat line from him.
Yeah.
You waste
And
like great.
Go ahead.
Sir. No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, if you think of Crowder and Tucker, PJ Tucker and Jay Crowder serving the same roles in their respective teams, Tucker has had kind of an invisible series so far. I think he's not really been a huge factor, partially because of fouls, but a lot of times it seems like they've just had lineups where he has not been on the court that have been more effective. But
Yeah.
Crowder has been pretty damn good, and he was really good again tonight. And you could just see he was kind of everywhere on the court. He was making a lot of really strong defensive plays. He was fouling a lot, some of which was called, some of which wasn't. But yeah, I
man.
mean, he's one of those dudes where like beyond the way that Booker and Paul play and the way that Giannis and Middleton play, I think at this point the series really is going to come down to players 4 through 9 on each of these rosters and how well they step up.
Speaking of which,
Mm-hmm.
we got to give it up to the leather diaper front runner
Yeah,
for the playoffs, Mr.
yeah,
Patrick Connaughton.
Patty Connaughton, yeah,
And the Bucks fans had shirts that said "Pat can jump,"
yeah,
like white man can jump. Pretty funny, pretty clever. He came through with 11 points and 9 rebounds. And Van Gundy said it. He had 3 offensive rebounds.
yeah,
Van Gundy said it. The dude can rebound, man. He's got long
Yeah.
arms.
Yep.
3 for 7 from 3.
Yep.
I mean, he was the
He
difference.
he was I picked up on that too. And he's right. Like he's a great rebounding guard, great athlete. I mean, in the NBA, he's kind of just another guy. At Notre Dame, he was a phenomenal athlete. Patty Connaughton, actually, literally a Boston native, and he's got that
Connaughton?
face. If you look at his face, he's got that face where it seems like he should be in like The Town,
Yeah.
or Mystic River, or what's the Gone Baby Gone?
Yeah,
What are
man.
the
The
give me
fighter.
the fighter? Or just
Yeah.
he can just be like some guy with some Irishman there in the back who's just
Eddie
like at the
Connaughton.
bar. Yeah, who's saying to Sean Penn or to John Hamm or to Ben Affleck like don't do it, don't do it, right? Or alternatively, you got to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How
Um,
about them apples?
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, we
yeah,
didn't even
man.
mention
He was a
Goodwill Hunting,
dude.
of
You're not
course.
gonna guess what his plus minus was.
I'm not. You're
In
right.
fact, you're gonna soil yourself when you
Was he like a plus 15?
plus 21.
Holy shit!
Dude, he has
And
by
see,
far the best plus minus on the team.
I feel like he has missed a lot of open jumpers, but he did hit that huge one
Yeah,
when they were down 95-94, and then I don't think Milwaukee ever relinquished the lead after that, and he got a
he hit
bang.
that one that made him go up two. It
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
huge. I can't
Yeah.
remember the sequence. I think he hit another big one too. But
Yeah, he did.
he is
He did.
I mean, huge off the bench. They only played three bench guys. Portis didn't really have a great game. He was okay.
Yeah.
But dude, you called this in our text exchange. Fucking Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
4 for 20 from the field.
Not great.
0 for 5 from three. He had three
Yeah.
steals. He played great defense on Chris Paul. I think that's one of the stories that is talked about, but maybe not too much, is that he is like
Yep.
really fucking with Chris Paul. Chris
Hmm.
Paul, 5 turnovers.
Size advantage,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Size
bodying him up.
advantage to be sure. Yeah. And that's the
Definitely.
thing. Holiday is a good enough defender that even if he has a nightmarish offensive game like he did tonight, he's always going to be on the floor. But I'm sure it seemed apparent because he was taking shots late. He took a couple shots late and he missed them. It seemed apparent that Budenholzer was telling him keep shooting and just shoot your way out of it. But clearly this was Middleton's night, and I don't think we've potted since the end of last series. Middleton is really a hot and cold kind of
So hot and
offensive
cold.
player. And
Oh my
like,
god.
we were kind of clowning him, rightfully so, I would say, at the start of that Brooklyn series when he was just terrible off these pick and rolls and just these shots were just brick after brick. But then when Giannis went down in the middle of that Hawks series, Middleton basically closed the series out by himself in Atlanta with that
Oh yeah.
outrageous game 6 performance.
It was an
So
eruption.
yeah, like what did he have? Like 25 points in a quarter or something insane.
Something crazy. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he can get so freaking hot.
Yep.
And I think the Bucks will lose the next game. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
call it now. I think they're gonna get smacked in Phoenix. So it should be interesting. We'll see, but I just feel like it's just ripe for a loss. Like
Yeah.
Middleton won't show up, Drew won't show up. And by the way, I'm gonna give you some Drew Holiday stats for the finals. This is gonna make you
Okay.
cringe.
Hmm.
He is shooting 34%, 34.8 from the field. He's shooting 20.8 from three. He's shooting 66 from the free throw line. He is averaging 1.5 steals. He's got 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 15 points. So I think he's playing great D, but like, dude, he's
Yeah.
got to play better. I mean, I
No,
hate
I
to be
mean,
that guy, but like, come on, man.
no, it's very doubtful that they can win the series without him playing better. And that's the
Oh,
thing, Ben. I mean, I think to kind of go back to the top here, one of the takeaways to me, to two couple takeaways here, main takeaways. Number one is if we're talking about from the Phoenix perspective, they're going to be kicking themselves if they lose this series because I think they really have to feel like, especially at the start of that fourth quarter and even in the middle of that fourth quarter when they were, getting Cam Johnson hitting shots and campaign and, Booker before he was in foul trouble was kind of in his bag as the kids say, hitting his mid range game. I
it's about like doing magic, right? Like reaching in your
I don't
bag,
know. I guess so. I
or is it
think
like
so.
Harry Potter? I mean, it, it's got
Wizardry.
because yeah, he had that bag where he just keeps pulling shit out. But I
Yeah.
feel like it has to be magic, right? It's like reaching like a rabbit out of the bag,
Here's what I'm gonna do.
or that's out of a
I'm gonna
hat.
I'm gonna ask a
Feel so
student
old.
very I'm gonna ask a student very formally in the fall what it means. I'll go up to
Like
a
yeah,
student
pull him
and be like,
aside and be
"Excuse
like,
me, young man, young
"There's
man,
extra credit in it for you, buddy."
what does?" And then I'll take my readers out to look. in his bag mean, right?
He'll think
Like,
he's gonna get in trouble, and you'll be
yeah,
like, "Excuse me, sir. What does in
yeah.
his bag mean?"
Dr. Abrahamson, I have to leave right now. Can you leave me the hell alone? Anyway, so um, yeah,
And
the Suns really got
Aiden,
to be.
Aiden, 6 points, 17
Yeah, he
rebounds,
had a.
five
I know.
assists, and 3 blocks.
Yeah, three for nine. Another thing that stands out to me looking at this box score, and Booker was phenomenal on offense, but Ben, how do you play 39 minutes in a game and get one rebound? Like even the law of averages, it just seems like at least more than one missed shot would come to you, right?
Hmm,
I just couldn't believe that he had what he. I think he had 42 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound,
it's
which is
crazy.
the Monte Ellis special, right? Or the who used to get a line like that, right?
That's like a Bohan Bogdanovic. I can't say his name correctly, but for the Jazz, he'll get
Yeah,
like he had a game this year where he scored 30 points and no other stats. It was like
incredible.
that's all I am. I'm just a professional scorer.
Like I'm literally here to shoot, and that's it.
I mean, the Bucks had, dude, this is crazy.
Hmm.
17 offensive rebounds to Phoenix's 5. So
Yeah,
like Tucker and Drew Holiday just like slamming the boards, and Booker
yep,
just it's just not really where he excels. He was
yeah.
playing better defense tonight, I thought, like at times, although again, he was hacking the hell out of people not getting calls in the
Hmm.
fourth quarter because they wanted to keep him in the game, seemingly. I'm not saying that there's any corruption. I'm just saying that,
Right.
it just seemed that way. Um,
His open field tackle on Drew Holiday there at the end.
dude, it was unreal. And Giannis like just caught it and like just threw it up thinking it was a foul. He was like,
Yeah,
whatever. And then that counted. So
yeah.
whatever.
Well, no, and I think too. You mentioned those offensive rebounds. That really speaks to why the Suns have to be kicking themselves because the Bucks didn't shoot particularly well in this game.
No,
Like
dude.
their jump shooting was not very good. I mean, they were ripe to get gotten, so
Okay.
to speak,
So
right? And
what,
and the Suns
what,
didn't take advantage.
no, totally, man. I mean, I just saw this stat as you were saying that and you hit it right in the head. Um, the Phoenix outshot them from the field and from the 3-point line. 51% Phoenix, 40% the Bucks, and then
Hmm.
from the three, 30% to 24. So it's like, I mean, the Bucks shot 8 more free throws, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's they out rebounded them. That was and I think the turnovers, let's see. Oh yeah. Total turnovers 17 for the Suns and 5 for the Bucks.
Yeah.
17
So
turnovers, dude. I
so
mean,
yeah, you look at the well beyond other than that stat particularly, I guess. Um, a lot of those are the stats you just reeled off, and you think, okay, that's a game that Phoenix could get on the road for sure.
yeah.
And those offensive rebounds, those hustle plays, I really do think. I know it's hard to measure this. Well, it's impossible to measure, I guess. But like these kind of hustle plays and these kind of second rebounds, second efforts,
Yeah.
huge advantages, I think, to the home teams with this, right? I think Phoenix is going to have those very same advantages on Saturday night when they play game five. And, I don't think you'd be overstating it to say that, in that fourth quarter when it's felt like Phoenix had been in control for much of the second half, that Milwaukee crowd really played a huge role in getting the Bucks kind of back into the game and getting them to finally pull ahead because, felt like watching. I was just like, well, it still feels like Booker when he's in has this under control and they're going to Phoenix is just going to keep them at bay and win by 7.
I thought the
And,
same thing, man.
Milwaukee made that push, and that push was off of these, like you're saying, they couldn't shoot worth shit, and they kept getting these rebounds, and they kept scoring inside, and those easy baskets are what put them over the top.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, you had Giannis with 5 offensive rebounds. You had Tucker with 3 out of his 5. You had
Yeah,
Holiday with 3, Connaughton with 3, Portis with 2. I mean, it's just like, and Aiton only had 1. He had 16 defensive rebounds. So it's just, I'm not usually, well, I do enjoy rebounds. So I do talk about offensive rebounds, but yeah, it was huge. Chris Paul, I got to talk about it. I'm definitely a certified platinum hater, but
Mhm.
he 5 for 13, 0 for 2 from the three, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, and 10 points. He had
Mhm.
the worst plus minus on the team. He's been great through the whole playoffs, though. So one bad game, I'm sure he'll bounce back. But it was shades of the old Chris Paul a little bit. But I don't want to. I'm not going to pile on. I mean, it was one bad game. I think he'll be better next game. I think he needs to just like stop trying to like flop and stop trying to draw fouls all the time. It's first of all, it's aesthetically disgusting. Second of all, I think he's like psyching himself out, because especially in a couple of the final possessions, I feel like he was kind of just in his own head with that. He was kind of stuck in the middle of trying to draw a foul, or like he should just get to a spot, get to the elbow, and sink that mid-range jump shot. I mean, he should listen to me. I'm just a dude in his living room casting on a fucking Wednesday night. So listen, I mean, I know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know. I
Mhm.
do.
Sorry, I had to put you on mute there
I saw
for
you
a
put something in your mouth.
these are cinnamon graham crackers. I
Ooh,
like them.
like cinnamon toast crunch, but big.
Kind of, yeah. I think
Nice.
they have a little more breadth to them. I haven't had cinnamon toast crunch in quite a while, but I think there's probably a similarity
I've
there.
been getting back into cereal, mostly healthy cereal, like mostly like Heritage
I,
Flakes and shit like that.
I like how you
But
say that like it's jazz or something. I've been getting back into cereal.
been getting back into cereal.
Hmm.
Put some dried cranberries, some raisins on there, a little maybe some banana,
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
or just go straight up cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah, I always feel like these graham crackers, they never quite seem like cereal to me, but now that you mention it, I guess these kind of are like just big cinnamon toast crunch squares, aren't
Yeah,
they?
man, it's adult cinnamon toast crunch. You know, you should just have a little milk alongside.
Just a
Be
dip. I have a glass of water here, and
yeah.
that doesn't hit quite the same.
Get some warm milk. Get yourself some warm milk before you go to sleep.
Soggy, a waterlogged graham cracker.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Thanks for hopping on the call, by the way. I know it's late there.
no, of course, no, it's fine. It's summer, man. Uh, Listen, one other thing we got to talk about. Okay, well, we can talk as long as you want, but one other thing we have to talk about before we end this. Okay,
Wait, did we oh, sorry. For a
what?
second I thought that it stopped recording and I was like, what
No,
the fuck?
we're good. No,
All
we're
right, good.
recording.
Cool, cool, cool.
All of this, for better or worse, is being it's being put in a cloud. Um,
Thank God.
the Giannis
Headed
iconic
straight to the
block.
Library of Congress. Go ahead,
There we
sorry.
go. Exactly. No, I was saying the. I'm trying to imagine where they put that in the Library of Congress, just like
Deep,
over
deep
on the floor.
in the annals of Congress.
Hmm.
Deep.
Yeah. Like, are you sure you want to go to that floor down that low? Um,
It's a dusty spider
yeah.
infested
No one
floor.
goes there. Um, no, but uh, Giannis's block,
Dude,
just to set it up a little bit, because it happened in such a
unreal.
frantic sequence, and Breen, as usual, just absolute stud of an announcer. Just, he always meets the
He
moment.
freaked out. Loved it.
He was great, and he was great through that whole fourth quarter. We're big Breen heads on the Gutty
Oh,
cast.
he's the best.
So Giannis goes to help on, I don't remember who threw the lob. I don't remember who threw the lob to
It was
Aiden.
Booker. I'm watching it right now in
Booker.
like
Okay.
ultra slow motion. I found this Twitter
Yeah.
account. It's like in 120 frames per second. I'm watching it.
So Giannis goes and is trying to help in the paint on Booker, and then recovers, and the ability to block a 7 foot athletic center who has the momentum of catching a ball on a lob, like mid alley oop, the ability to block that after, because you see a lot of plays where a guy like in Giannis's shoes will block the alley oop itself, right? He'll like block the pass, but he blocked the shot after the guy catching the alley oop received it. Which, when you think about the momentum and the strength that Aiden has to be coming down, having caught that pass, just like physics, right? I'm not a physics guy, Ben, more of a humanities fellow myself, right? Not a science guy, but like just the physics of his ability to do that were just
Dude,
fucking outrageous.
it's
And
unreal.
I don't think in a live game, it wasn't until they showed the replay, and then I also saw, and probably not the replay you're talking about. That one sounds much cooler, but just looking at the replay online, just one of the signature plays of his career, don't you think? To this point,
Oh, I think it is right now. It's probably the signature play of his career. I
yeah.
really do. I mean, it's like he had an amazing block. I think in the last game too, didn't he? Or was it the game before? I don't know. But
No, it was game one, the chase down,
oh,
like
that's right. Yeah,
because
game
it was
one. My
like
bad.
reminiscent of the LeBron block,
Yep,
and it
totally.
was lost. It was lost in the shuffle because they got beaten pretty
Because he got
soundly.
beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this. So he is facing Booker when he throws
Uh-huh.
the ball. He's like parallel to like the crowd. He turns around. He's at the dotted line, by the free throw line when
Hmm.
the ball is like over his head. And Aiden's getting ready to jump. And crap, the sound just came on. But I mean, he's so fucking long. And I'm seeing, and Skip Bayless is on here on Twitter. He's getting ratioed like crazy, but he said that it wasn't impressive. Just
Okay.
a classic troll move. Like he's getting destroyed, but obviously, but he said it wasn't impressive because it was a lob. Like he doesn't consider it like a real block or something.
See, I think that makes it more impressive
Oh no,
in some ways.
it is more impressive, and the ground that he covers is crazy. He did it so fluidly. Like
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
he didn't stop and like look up and like, oh my god, this is about to happen. He just like didn't waste one split second. He just turned around and jumped immediately, like all in one motion.
Yep.
And honestly, man, this is why I watch the games. It's ballet. I mean, this is fucking acrobatic. The athleticism is just unreal. It is beautiful. It's poetry in motion. I mean, it's basketball at its finest. I'm
And
tearing up a little bit watching this.
it's the embodiment of his Greek freak
Yes,
persona because it's the combination. Plenty of dudes have foot speed, plenty of dudes have length, but putting both of
plenty
those
of dudes have
together,
girth too.
plenty of dudes have girth. Um, it's true. It's true. Um, but him being able to put all of that together, I think, is really what separates him. And so, yeah, not he. It wasn't just that he had to be a long defender there. He also had to cover the ground with his feet to get to Aiden to meet him at the. I mean, I'd
At
have to
the
go back.
apex.
It was basically at the apex, right at the high point,
It was
and
unreal. And
It
honestly,
happened so
Aiden,
fast that I couldn't. Like I said, I couldn't tell how impressive it was in the moment because it just happened so fast.
dude, it's a perfect block. I mean, it really is. Like Aiton had it on his fingertips. He was gonna like I've seen some people saying like, oh, he was gonna lose the ball or something. No, no, he had it. He had it on his fingertips. He had it like
Yep.
cradled. He was gonna or not cradled, but he had it in his grasp.
Yes. And
Um,
he has great hands. I mean, he was going to dunk that for
oh
sure.
yeah, of course. I mean this is like his bread and butter. It's I mean, yeah. They were up by two. That would have tied the game. Instead, he blocks and they score on the other end. They go up by four. So I think, right? Or did that just
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They were up by two. He blocks a game. Middleton hit a shot. Middleton hit a mid-range jumper.
I'm gonna go
Giannis
through
block on
the
Aiden.
Gamecast right now, every single play. Play
First
by
quarter.
play.
First quarter, tip off.
Yeah, I'm at the first quarter. This is gonna take a long time. No, I'm kidding. But um I'm actually gonna go all the way to that play. All right. So like they miss so they got the rebound. Middleton misses. They come back down. Then Chris Paul turns it over. Then Middleton hits a shot.
Okay.
Suns timeout. Bucks up by four
Okay,
with
yeah.
27.2 left. So that's sorry, Chris. That's even worse on you, man. You had a second
Mhm.
chance, and yeah,
Speaking of Chris, see, I'm giving away the goose now here because we can't do this now that I'm mentioning this. But an incredible prank would be if we recorded, like, let's say after Patriots Buccaneers, if we recorded a podcast and we told our friend Chris Kemp that we'd recorded it, and we're like, dude, we have like fresh out of the oven, fresh thoughts on the Pats Bucks game, and it was literally just us going back and forth reading the play by play from the game, like a 34-minute, right? Ronald
Uh,
Jones runs for 2 yards.
oh
Tom
my
Brady
God, dude.
pass incomplete short left, and then we just alternate, and then that's
NFL
the end.
play logs are so boring. It's like, yeah, Ronald Jones -1 yard run. Ronald Jones 2 yards. Brady 7 yard pass, and then
Yeah.
like occasionally he'll get like a 59 yard pass touchdown or something.
Well, the crazy thing is, pre red zone, like,
Yeah,
there were times when I was, particularly in the college years, where I would follow a game by just waiting for the game log to refresh.
yeah.
Which I'm sure if you said that to like a college aged or high school aged fantasy player now, you might as well be like listening, like sitting there listening to like Franklin Roosevelt on a radio, right? Just like I'd wait to see if TJ Hushmanzada got an 8 yard reception, right?
Yeah, yeah.
By
No,
literally just watching the gamecast.
I did the
Anyway,
same
Kemp,
thing, man.
Kemp, sorry / you're welcome for not pulling that trick on you. We could still
Oh, we can
maybe
still
do
do
it
it.
though. Yeah,
We'll still do it. Actually, the Patriots play the
yeah,
Buccaneers
exactly.
in Foxborough. So, and Chris said, I think
Damian Harris runs to the right for 16 yards.
I can't remember if Kim said they would win or lose the Patriots that game. Maybe it was like an
Oh, I think he had the Bucks like basically going what, like 15-2,
yeah. I
which
still
given their talent is not a crazy thing. I mean, they have
yeah.
everybody coming back, and they
I,
got a
I
great.
I still can't get my head around the new 17 game
It's
season.
awful.
Or is it
I
18
was
games? 17,
No,
right?
it's 18 weeks, it's
Oh
17
yeah.
games. It I will say the the stats centric OCD part of my brain is fucking furious at
I
it.
don't like it, man.
It's so bad.
You're gonna have like somebody with 60 touchdowns. They're gonna be like the greatest performance of all time, and it's like when Randy Moss got his like what 23 touchdowns or whatever, and they're
Yes.
like beating Jerry Rice, and it's like, dude, Jerry Rice did that in 12 games.
Yeah.
Okay, so prorated out, that would be like
Right.
4 touchdowns more than Randy Moss, probably more
Yeah.
than that. Um, Now I have to look this up because I can't remember. I can't remember the exact um, record, but yeah, I can't really wrap my head around that. Um,
Here's what I would say. Here would be my proposal for it. Okay, this is outrageous and it will never happen. But to satisfy people like us who want it to be consistent and even, my proposal would be week 18, which is the old week 17. Your stats count for the individual game, but they don't count for your season stats,
hmm.
which makes no sense other
It's kind of
than
like
to
the play-in game
to
in
keep it even.
NBA in a
Kind of,
way.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like Derrick Henry, if you get 250 yards rushing and that triggers something in your contract for a bonus, then sure. But your actual season long stats, they end at week 17. I can hear Chris like furious right now at this proposal. Most of what I say, I put out into the world with the express purpose of angering him. Anyway, we
Yeah.
got off track. We got off track here with the game log. So
Okay, but really,
so
really fast, I just want to say,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
Randy Moss had 23 touchdowns. Talk about OCD
What is that?
in 16
2003,
games.
2003,
2007.
2000. Oh,
That was that
the
crazy
Patriots.
year.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jerry Rice had 22 touchdowns in 12 games. So
He had a really not 22. He had what, 17 or 18 with the Vikings one year? Didn't Moss?
I think he had 17.
Yeah,
He had 17 twice with the Vikings.
yeah.
Wow. God, Rob, or I was going to say his full name. Gronk had 17. That's crazy.
Robert
Rob
Robert Gronk
Gronkowski, as
Robert
as Brady calls him, Bobby G.
Robert Gronkowski.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, back to the game log. I think that's pretty much it. We covered the game log pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
we've hit all, let me just make sure one more sweep here. Yeah, I said Aiton. He had the 17 rebounds, only 6 points. They benefited from Booker getting into some foul trouble. Cam Johnson, 10 points. That was nice to see. I don't know. Those are the highlights. Brooke Lopez, he had 14 and 19 minutes. That's not too bad. But I'm looking forward to the next game. I think, as I said, I think the Suns are going to clobber them. I think it's going to be like a blowout /
Yeah,
like 15-point game or something like that.
I could see that.
Um,
I could see that for
we'll
sure.
see what happens. I'm not overconfident, but
I have a question for you.
yeah.
As we start to wind down here,
Yes.
is there a specific matchup or lineup or part of the game that you think is going to be particularly important in deciding who wins this series? Now that it's essentially, as they say, a best of three. I don't know if
I,
you know this, Ben, but when it's 2-2,
yeah.
it's as though it's a 3-game series. People don't talk about that enough.
Well, oh my God. Yeah, I mean it's like, well, so the Bucks are like so much better at home, I feel like. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me. It just seems like they're better. But in terms of the matchups, I think Drew Holiday versus Chris Paul, if he can continue to for lack of a better phrase, get in Chris Paul's ass as he's been doing,
Mhm.
um, and bother him as much
In
as
the
he has.
industry term.
Yeah, as we say in the National Basketball Association.
Hmm.
Um, if he continues to be a pest and just overpower him at times and like body him, and they talked about it on the telecast, but PJ Tucker taking Chris down low for those offensive rebounds, like bodying, like beating him to the glass and just forcing him to, because usually they've been able to hide Chris Paul on kind of like somebody who's like a low activity player. I feel like somebody who sits in the corner or,
Yeah.
but when you got PJ like running around and you got Drew in his grill and yeah, I think if Drew can like hover around the same point totals as well as Chris Paul, that would be helpful for the Bucks. But I'm going to stick with the Suns. The Suns winning the finals. I don't know if I've
Hmm.
actually said that yet, but I think they're going to win the finals. I think they're going to win. I'm not overconfident, but I agree with what you said about the fact that they have home court. I think it's going to be huge.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, if Giannis can, but I will say, and it's been talked about ad nauseum on the Bill Simmons podcast. Yes, I'm listening to that again. I know I hated on him for a long time in our chat, but I am listening to that podcast again, and he brought up a great point about Giannis. If Giannis is like leveling up before our eyes, and he's
Hmm.
going to put up like 40-point games, like not on the regular, but 2 out of the last 3 games
Yeah.
if he can just elevate his play and have like an amazing game on the road, like the next game or something, and they can steal that game, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like that'll be incredible to watch. But yeah,
Well,
man.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Chris Paul thing because I thought on Sunday what that game three really showed is you're totally right. I mean, they've been able to hide him a lot, and it's like the Bucks every so often, it's like they remember that they have a pretty significant size advantage in this series,
Yeah.
and they take advantage of it. But when Phoenix was really screwed on Sunday, I felt like was when Aiden was off the court because he was in so much foul trouble, and Paul was on the court. Because if Aiden is off the court, they really don't have anybody else who can consistently. I mean, Crowder was doing a pretty admirable job tonight, but like he can't be expected to consistently check Giannis, I don't think, over an entire game. And
Well, you
so
saw what happened
when
last time he tried. He
exactly
got
that's what I
just
mean.
eviscerated.
Exactly. And so if Ayton is off the court and Chris Paul's on the court, I mean, there are just mismatches that the Bucks can exploit. And so this is what I will say. If you're asking me, same thing I've said before, everything in my account, I'm taking Phoenix, but it's like 1-49, Ben, because I would not be surprised at all if the Bucks win this series, and I would not be surprised. I think I think they can win a game seven on the road. I think they can. I'm
They
not
did
saying they're
it in
going to.
Brooklyn
They did it in Brooklyn.
with
I agree.
a hampered
Yeah.
Harden and no Kyrie, but still, I mean, that was a tough
And
game to win.
and I said this earlier tonight on Twitter, but like um
At
I was
Doctor
a
of Dunk.
yeah, right, promoting it's another great effective thing on a podcast talking about your own tweets. So I said I was surprised a little bit at how much I saw a lot of people, NBA people on NBA Twitter, as they say, as they call it, basically saying, well, the Suns are just better, and this is gonna, the Suns are just better, and they have a better team, and that's why this series is 2-0. I didn't don't really see it that way, Ben. I don't think they're clearly better. I think they might
Mm.
be a little better, but I think these rosters are pretty even. And I didn't think Milwaukee played poorly in those two road games in Phoenix. And if anything, the fact that they only lost by 7 or 9 or 11, whatever it was in game two, when the
Yeah.
Suns hit 23 pointers, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm leaving that thinking, well, shit, like,
Yeah. They
yeah,
could
if
have
they
taken
if
one
they
of those games.
if
Yeah.
they score 60 points on threes and they don't win by double digits, we're going to count on them not hitting 23s again, even though they're a great shooting team. And I feel like the Suns still have advantages that they can exploit. The role players are going to be better. I agree with you. I think the Suns win by double digits. And I actually think Milwaukee could potentially, I could see Milwaukee winning in game six the way they did in game three. But I just have a feeling we have one more game in this series that's going to be resemble tonight, and I could very easily see that being Game Seven. And at that point, all the marbles. I think the role players in Phoenix again, 51-49. I'm totally
They're a
sitting on,
young
sitting on the
team.
fence here.
They're a young
But
team though. I mean,
I
Phoenix is.
think the home crowd would make the difference. But if you told me the Bucks went in there and won Game Seven, I would not at all be surprised because I just think that they figure out sometimes
What about if somebody
when
put
they
an
have.
actual gun to your head?
Speaking of the Bill Simmons thing, somebody comes in here, yeah,
What
exactly,
if somebody
robs me,
takes a Uzi and
t-
shoves it in your mouth?
ties me up, right? Bounds and gags me. It's getting
Bounce and
very
gags
specific
you.
now. Well, first of all, if they bound and gag me, I can't tell them anything because I can't speak, right? But if I were forced to, let's say, if I
You
were
could
forced
write
to,
it with your own blood.
right, exactly.
Bucks in
Yeah,
7.
Bucks in seven. No, or seven. But I do think the thing that I feel pretty confident of after tonight, I do think it's going to go seven. I do think it's going to go
Wow,
seven,
yeah.
and which is not super bold,
I
I
mean,
suppose.
if you
But
think about it, like, okay, so Chris Paul has a lot of experience, right? Jay Crowder has some experience with the Celtics and the Heat last year in the playoffs. But besides that, they're pretty green in terms of playoff experience, whereas the Bucks have had so much heartbreak, a lot of resilience, especially recently, and they also have the best player on the court at all times, which is
yeah,
Giannis, the most destructive, powerful force on the court.
well,
So it,
yeah.
it kind of supports what you're saying is that if you think about it, they might be a good bet, but
Well,
I don't know,
and
man.
a slight variation of what you're saying there, but I think getting to the same point because I think this is what I think we're on the same page there. But like the Suns haven't played in an elimination game this postseason, have they?
No, that's a good point. Yeah,
And the Bucks have played in
I think
two.
two against
Yeah,
Brooklyn, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So going into Game Seven, if there was a Game Seven, they would be it would be their third, and it would be Phoenix's first. Now,
You're
whether
making
you
me want to put some money on the Bucks now.
well, wouldn't it? But yeah, not now. But to see now, if your prophecy is correct and they win by 24 in Game Five, then the pressure's back on Milwaukee. But I just I do think they've the fact that the series is tied and it doesn't feel like the Bucks have really clicked offensively.
Hmm.
I just think law of averages. It doesn't mean that their a good shooting performance wouldn't be bested by a better Phoenix shooting performance. But I just think the the Bucks are due for a game where they shoot well and they hit 17 threes and
And
you
they
know,
survived like a 42-point game by Booker.
yeah. And that's the thing. The other thing that the other reason that I would slightly favor the Suns is it does seem like, and this is extremely, unscientific, not technical, but it does seem like for whatever reason, it has been much easier for Paul and Booker and Aiton to all have good or good to very good games simultaneously. Whereas with the Bucks, it just seems like Giannis plays well, but if Giannis and Middleton play well, then Holiday's terrible. If Holiday and Middleton play well, then Giannis is so-so. It's like they
Holiday has
can't.
had like one good shooting game the whole series. So here's his field goal percentages per game. All right.
Yeah,
28, 33, 57. If he can shoot like that, I don't see how they can lose, honestly. If he can hover around 50% shooting, like if you think about it, like he has played horrific. I mean, his shooting has been horrific in the finals, and it's only 2-2. I mean, like if he had shot better the first game or the second game, maybe they win. I mean, it's just like
yeah.
I mean, 4 for 20 this game, and they still win. It's like it's
No,
crazy,
I know,
but
I know. And the thing that would concern me a little if I were Phoenix was it just seems like there is an outsized amount of pressure on Aiton, given and the goat guys were talking about this the other day, and I thought it was a good point. Like Saric going down in that first game, he's not. You don't think of him as like an integral part of the Suns team, but in this particular matchup, having that backup five
yeah,
when they can throw Giannis and Lopez and Portis and have these like big 2 and 3 big shooting guard and small forward types on the floor. We talked in a previous pod about the Suns don't they're not small, but like these dudes are 6'7" and 6'8". If Milwaukee's putting three guys who are at least 6'11" on there, that's a potential issue for the Suns if they have, Booker and Paul and Bridges and whomever, and they don't have Aiden on the floor, right?
mm,
It's putting so much pressure on Aiden to not only to play decently on offense, but also to stay out of foul trouble, you know?
yeah.
And
So it's asking a lot of the second year player, or
for sure.
is he third
Third,
year?
I think he's third year.
I
I
should
think
know.
he's third year,
I
yeah.
don't.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I think I'm just excited that we're gonna get some drama, man,
Me
because
too, man. I mean, it sucks as a Suns fan, but like as an NBA fan,
mhm.
and through my DFS experiences, I have my fandom has probably dropped like 10%. So I'm not as like, I'm
Yeah,
not like the way I used to be where I was like screaming and like fist pumping and stuff.
right.
But um,
I'm just laughing here because I don't know if you've picked up on this, but through this entire podcast, you've just been getting progressively darker.
it's so fucking dark, dude. Can you even see my face right now?
Excuse
Coming
me.
out of
It's
coming out of a
you're
cave.
you're just like a disembodied. You're kind of just like a floating head a little bit, yeah. But I
Well,
just love.
sunset is like around 9 o'clock, and we started at 9 o'clock. So
There we go.
yeah,
I love how it was like I could see you perfectly clearly at the start, and you've just gone gradually. Yeah, I love it.
yeah,
Um,
that's
no,
hilarious. I've been noticing
but
that
yeah,
too.
and if you think about, I was thinking about this before we started. The 2000s finals, we really have in the 2010s, and I would throw this in at the start of the 2020s. We've gotten some really excellent series, I would say, in comparison to what we got from like 2000 to 2009 or so,
Hmm.
um, where the finals, just none of those finals were really that good. I mean, like, what was the best? The best finals was probably the Pistons Spurs in '05. And that game, we've talked about that series before. That series, every game was like 78 to 74.
What's the time
And
range again? What's the years?
2000 to 2009, just anything in the 2000s.
Oh man, I can't
Because
even.
you had
There's
the
nothing
three
that memorable. It's true. Like that was the Lakers.
Lakers three-peat, Spurs beat the Nets, Pistons beat the hell out of the Lakers, Spurs and Pistons go seven. Heat, where the Heat win kind of in a sketchy way. Spurs sweep the Cavs. Lakers Celtics where Kobe just basically throws Pau Gasol under a bus, and then Lakers Magic. Like that's the whole finals for that entire decade.
Yeah, I guess
And you,
Lakers Celtics was entertaining, I
it was
thought.
good. It was good. But you think about
But you're
the
right, there
20,
wasn't a lot there.
yeah, dude, the 2010s. Okay, think about this. You go. Lakers Celtics go 7. The Lakers win. They get revenge. 2011, Dirk and the Mavs, pretty big
Oh my
upset. They
God.
beat the Heat in 6. 2013 and
Nirvana.
2013 and 20 or not, well, no, sorry, not 2014. 2014, the Spurs beat the shit out of the Heat. But 2013,
It's
that
great.
that series goes 7,
Ray
and
Allen
that's a
shot.
Ray Allen shot, great series. Like, okay, once KD joined the Warriors, the finals weren't that great, but the two series before KD joined were both phenomenal,
Dude,
right?
yeah.
The Raptors Warriors series, injuries to be damned, was a fun series, and even going into that last game, like you
High
weren't really
drama.
sure. High drama, exactly. And I would say that the Lakers Heat series from last year, I don't know that I was ever really thinking that the Heat had a legit shot, but it's still Jimmy Butler still put the team on his back in a couple of performances and made it intriguing. So you compare that to when we were in high school and in college and just out of college. I really think we've been fortunate to get finals in recent years.
No, man. That's a good breakdown because I forgot about how much of a wasteland it was in the aughts, the early aughts. But I will say,
And yeah,
I was just gonna
go ahead.
say, I want to revisit 2011 again, Dirk Nowitzki, because like there's been a
Yeah.
lot of chatter about Giannis comparing him to Dirk, like his run and everything, which
Uh-huh.
it's not the same, but it's like people keep talking about runs of players, like um, KD all by himself, like how like the Suns getting all these breaks with injuries and all this stuff. It's just like, is this what we wanted? Is this what like the public wanted? Did they want Dirk in the finals? And did they or were they rooting for the Heat? And the way I remember it was there was this huge swell around Dirk that people wanted him to win.
Yeah.
And also he went through a gauntlet, at least on paper, to get to the finals. I mean,
Hmm.
he swept Kobe, he beat OKC, he beat the Spurs, right?
Well, he didn't beat the Spurs, but he did beat OKC and Kobe. I think they beat Portland in the first round.
He went through Durant, Kobe, and who else did they?
Westbrook.
But what was the other team they beat to get to the finals?
Well, so I think they beat Portland, LA, and OKC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they beat Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy,
So
pre knees exploding Brandon Roy.
maybe it's not as impressive as I
No,
as I
but
said, but
the comparison in terms of where Dirk was in like 2006 and where Giannis is now, and the fact that they both won MVPs, they're both unusual kinds of players. They've both been, punked in the playoffs before.
yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
I think I don't think it's apples to apples, but I see where it exists a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, we don't want to jump the gun, so because Giannis still has quite a bit to do if he's
yeah.
going to hoist the trophy.
Oh, for
But
sure.
but
He's
at the
still only
same,
26 years old.
yeah, I mean he's 26. He's been in the league 8 years, but he's super young still, and he
Hmm.
came in when he was nothing but a babe. So yeah, man, I can't wait to see what happens. Um, I want to thank you for
Yeah,
coming on the call with
absolutely.
me.
Yeah, dude.
It's always a pleasure.
I wish the Suns luck on Saturday night. Um, we have to wait 3 more days for Game 5, then 3 days after that for Game 6. Then
Yeah,
they're really stretching this out. But the hope is that with more rest, you'll get better play. I guess, right? Like
yeah.
not cramming the series in.
Old 36-year-old Chris Paul needs that rest. He needs to regroup and
Yeah, Brooke Lopez's aluminum body can really be, you know,
apply some
calibrated
grease,
to.
apply some
Yeah,
oil to the joints,
that's right. Yeah.
and we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna drift back into this darkness,
All
uh,
right, man.
into the cave,
Indeed.
disappear
Till
from
next time.
view.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a pleasure. Until next
Indeed.
time.
All right, let's get a good series. See you, buddy.
In God we trust.
In God we trust.
Goodbye, my friend.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
So God. Gaudy stats.